Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our TOEIC unit for the month of April, and today we're going to be talking about a conversation between Cheryl Ma and someone who is interviewing her for a podcast, and it's all about her new business called Cookies and Cupcakes.
I wonder if this place is real. It sounds like a place I would like to go to. I especially like cupcakes. I found a couple of good cooks here in Taipei that make cupcakes that are delicious. So anyway, we're going to be having a conversation. Tom will be Zach, which is a guy's name. It's short for Zachary. Zach isn't the full name. And then there's Cheryl, and I'll be Cheryl because that's a girl's name. And we'll be discussing what it's like, I guess, to be an owner of cookies and cupcakes, a founder of some sort of business. I think some people think it's pretty easy to own this kind of business, but if you're in the food industry, you end up working very hard. I had a friend who opened up a bagel shop, and wow, I couldn't believe the hours that he had to work. So let's see what it's like for Cheryl Ma. And then we'll be back to talk about some of these words and some of these discussion questions. Stay tuned.
I'm here with Cheryl Ma, the founder of Cookies and Cupcakes.
Thanks for having me on your podcast, Zach.
So, Cheryl, you've recently baked cookies and cupcakes for some renowned global brands, including Louis Vuitton and Starbucks. When you started, did you have any idea what was in store for you?
Absolutely not. I've always loved baking cookies. I used to bring them to office social events, and one of my colleagues suggested I sell them. For a few years, it was merely a side business, but in 2017, I decided to take the plunge and go full-time.
How hard was it to get started?
It was a lot of hard work. Luckily, I'd worked for a trading company for years and had a secure financial footing. In my opinion, you can't go into something like this without substantial savings to fall back on.
How did you make it work?
I worked round the clock. My husband and my family supported me, and my sisters and cousins were my first workers. They were volunteers, actually, as I couldn't afford to pay them at first. But we built up our reputation, did a lot of online marketing, and gave away thousands of free samples. Eventually, we started getting recognition.
Any advice for people who want to follow in your footsteps?
From my point of view, I'd say just keep going. Believe in yourself. With enough hard work, your dream can come true.
Okay, let's discuss the contents of today's lesson. The title here says, Cheryl Ma, an audience with the Cookie Queen. So this person's name is Cheryl Ma. I had a cousin whose name was Cheryl, and her surname here is Ma, which I assume means horse, and we're having an audience with the Cookie Queen. If you have an audience with someone, that means you're going to listen to what they have to say, you're going to interview them, or they are going to give a speech.
Yeah, I hear it often when we talk about leaders of a country like a president or even the Queen of England. He has an audience with the Queen tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah, someone is going to be giving you some of their time. So she's pretty lucky to have somebody who wants to talk about her business on a podcast. Podcasts are pretty popular these days. It seems like everyone has a podcast. Now, if you're a founder of something, you organize a new business, you set it up, you run it sometimes. Sometimes if the company's been around a long time, the founder perhaps has, sold the business to someone else or even passed away. We don't know. But here we're talking with the very founder of Cookies and Cupcakes. You'll often see that kind of N abbreviated. Instead of saying and, they'll just put that little N there. It's kind of cute. Cookies and Cupcakes. Actually, we say it so fast, it sounds like we're saying N, cookies and cupcakes. But that's a popular thing to do. If you just see that N, just know it stands for and.
It's cute, and of course it will look cute in the sign and everything. And, of course, she's the founder. She's the one who started the company. The verb is to found. For example, I could say the company was founded in 1936, although her company was founded much more recently. And Cheryl is appreciative. She says, "Thanks for having me on your podcast, Zach." Podcasts are very popular with listeners in Western countries. I don't know about here in Taiwan, but basically you have an app on your phone, and then it shows you all these different podcasts that you can download. There are various talk shows. I guess some of them can be video as well, but most of them are audio only. And you download them maybe once a week or once a day or something, and you listen to it when you have free time. So Zach here has a podcast. I assume it's about restaurants and food and stuff like that.
That would be a fun one to have, although I'd always be hungry listening to this podcast. If you have iTunes, guys, you can sign up for podcasts and they'll automatically come into your folder. You can also just listen to podcasts on your computer, which is what I do. I run out of memory on my phone too fast.
Yeah, I had to delete my app for my phone because of memory. I was using one called Podkicker, but there are all sorts of ones available on that one app store. But in any case here, yes, this is for his podcast, and Zach has a question for her. So, Cheryl, you've recently baked cookies and cupcakes for some renowned global brands, including Louis Vuitton and Starbucks. Okay, so this is what happens when you do things, you bake things or cook things for other people. In this particular case, these are famous, renowned global brands. Louis Vuitton, Starbucks, maybe some other ones. And here's the question. When you started, did you have any idea what was in store for you? Now, although she's making cookies and cupcakes here and would like to sell them in a store, the phrase here, in store, does not refer to an actual store itself. That just means what is going to happen to you, what will affect you in the future. So did you have any idea what to expect, what was going to happen to you? Did you have any idea what was in store for you?
This is a great phrase you guys should learn. I think you probably think it does have something to do with, does a store have items or products in stock? We actually would use in stock. In store, yeah, like Tom said. It's something that's waiting for you. It's just around the corner, about to happen. If you have a newborn baby, you've got a lot of sleepless nights in store for you. Yeah, because those babies don't sleep all through the night. So things that are just around the corner that are going to happen, it can be good and it can be bad, depending on what you're talking about. Cheryl says absolutely not, meaning she had no idea this idea would take off or become so popular quickly. Absolutely means completely. No, absolutely not. So she's pretty emphatic or very sure about this. She says, I've always loved baking cookies. Me too. I actually like to eat the dough before they're baked, but
Is that okay? Is that good for you to do that?
I did it for years growing up.
Yeah, I did that too. I always wondered if you were supposed to do that or not.
Well, they say not to because of the egg, because I would make the chocolate chip cookie dough really fast.
Okay.
My mom got so mad at me for doing that, but I continued to do it. I love dough. So it says here, I used to bring them to office social events. You know, those are like birthdays for people, or maybe you're celebrating a new client, whatever those kind of events are. She would bring along some cookies. I bet her colleagues love that. And some of her coworkers started suggesting that she sell them. You know, she did a good job, I guess. So she says for a few years, it was merely a side business. When you see this term side business, you know that someone has a regular full-time job, but they would like to maybe earn some extra money, so they have a side gig or a side business that they do when they're not at their full-time job. Or maybe they're doing this side business until they can afford to leave that full-time job and focus on their side business entirely. So that's what she did, which is smart. You should never just give up your full-time job before you know if your side business will be successful.
Yep, she was doing it on the side. Maybe she baked, I don't know, maybe 4 dozen cookies or something, and then went somewhere during the weekend and tried to sell them from the street or something like that.
Maybe a farmer's market?
Yeah, those are legal indeed. They probably have those. Bake sale, perhaps, who knows. But in 2017, I decided to take the plunge and go full-time. So take the plunge here. Plunge is usually when something goes into water rather quickly. And so if you take the plunge, that means you start to do it immediately. And usually it involves being involved with a lot of details rather soon. And you have a lot of responsibilities, and it can be quite stressful.
Oh, it sure can. That's for sure. Usually you're doing something kind of risky, right? Think of someone on a high diving board, and they're going to go straight down into the water, and it's a long fall. They're taking the plunge. It's kind of scary. So when we use it sort of in a figurative way, you're saying someone's doing something that's a little risky, decided to take the plunge. Sometimes it's hard for guys to decide if they want to get married, and then they finally do it. They take the plunge, and hopefully it works out for them. So Zach goes, how hard was it to get started? It's very hard. I've heard from people who own their own businesses. They work so hard to get something off the ground. If it's off the ground, it's starting to be successful. She said, luckily, I'd worked for a trading company for years. I'd is short for I had worked, which is past perfect. So she'd done it in the past. If you work for a trading company, sometimes you can make some good money. And so she said, I had a secure financial footing. Footing here just means base. So she felt pretty confident about starting a business because she had money that she'd saved up. And so that helped her a lot. So you need a secure financial footing. And this is her opinion. She said, you can't go into something like this without substantial savings. Substantial means quite big, right? To fall back on. If you have something you can fall back on, it means you have a backup plan, something that you do really well so that if your dream doesn't end up working out, you can always fall back on something else. Maybe you went to school and you got an education in, becoming an elementary school teacher, but you really were interested in performing. Well, you tried to be a singer. It didn't work out. So you had your teaching education, your certificate to fall back on. That was something that could help you if your dream or your number one goal didn't quite work out.
Right, so there are various ways to construct a safety net for yourself. As she said here, she worked in a trading company, so she had a lot of money saved up. So that's her financial footing, a foundation, a base. There are other ways. Maybe she can be helped by family members, her parents. Maybe she's married and she can always fall back on her husband, whatever. But I think the point here is that, yeah, you should have some kind of alternative in case your business doesn't work out. It's probably easier said than done. Her friends probably thought her cookies were really tasty. Hey, you should open a business. You'll make a lot of money. Well, of course, opening a business can be easier said than done. Here's Zach's next question. He says, how did you make it work? How did you make your financial plan or your business work? How did you make it successful?
Yeah, how did you make it work? She says here, I worked round the clock. Round the clock just means almost no rest. So she's doing it 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can also say I worked around the clock. Round the clock is typically more British, but they're both correct. You can use either one, around the clock or round the clock. So she was working pretty much all the time. That's hard on your family as well if you have a husband and children. If you're working that hard, it's difficult. I bet she had her kids helping her out, though, and her husband, when he came home from his full-time job, I'm sure he helped out, too.
Yep, she says, my husband and my family supported me, and my sisters and cousins were my first workers. So these are her relatives, her sisters and cousins, maybe an aunt or uncle or something like that. And they were volunteers, actually, as I couldn't afford to pay them at first. But heck, they're family, they're relatives, they're willing to help you out. And maybe in the future, if they try to start a business, then you can help them out. What's it go? One hand
washes the
versus the other.
Yeah.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So indeed, her family members helped her out, and they were volunteers, which means they worked without being paid. But we built up our reputation, did a lot of online marketing, and gave away thousands of free samples. Eventually, we started getting recognition. So I guess these are some things you need to do to get yourself established in business. Build up your reputation, let everybody know about you and have a good impression of you. Then do some marketing online to let people know about you. And then you have to give away those samples so people know all about your product.
Yeah, that's why these big superstores give out samples so often. Once you get a taste of something, you're more likely to go ahead and buy it. So when you get those samples, that's what they're hoping, that you'll go ahead and buy the product and not just eat the free samples, guys. So Zach asks, any advice? Do you have any advice for people who want to follow in your footsteps? Guys, remember, advice is non-count. Please don't say advices. I have some advices for you.
Uh-oh.
Or I want to give you some advice. Yeah, how can people follow in your footsteps? If you follow in someone's footsteps, they've done something, you follow their example. It makes it easier for you if you're able to follow in someone else's footsteps, because typically they're already successful and you see the right decisions that they made and you stay away from the bad decisions that you probably saw them make as well.
Yep, so he's asking her for some advice here for anybody who wants to start a business like her. And she says, well, from my point of view, the way I see it, I'd say just keep going. Don't stop. Be like a shark. Keep on swimming, because if you do stop, if you're a shark, you won't be able to breathe.
You might drown.
You might drown. That's exactly right. So yes, keep going. Don't give up. Of course, you'll have bad days, but get up the next day and do it all over again. Believe in yourself. Have confidence. With enough hard work, your dream can come true. Well, that brings us to the end of our English discussion. Let's hear someone talk to you in Chinese right now.Hi
everyone, my name's Jenny. 今天我们要看的是第3单元。好，我们来看这个对话内容。这个对话呢，谈的跟烘焙有关。好，那我们的主角呢，他其实呢是一个烘焙店的创始人，他叫 Cheryl。Cheryl 呢，他今天就在这个 Podcast 上面，也就是播客这个系统上，他接受访问、访谈，然后谈一些他成功的历程。好，我们先看一开始呢，当然主持人就要介绍这一位 Cheryl Ma， 也就是我们这个店的 Cookies and Cupcakes 的创始人。好，那当有人邀请你上节目也好，或是邀请你谈讲座、举办讲座也好，通常你就会谢谢对方，然后最常用的就是这一句 Thanks for having me， 也就是谢谢你邀请我上这个节目。好，那么主持人呢，他一开始就说，这个 Cheryl， 你最近呢，其实我们知道你帮一些有名的全球品牌烘焙了饼干，烘焙了杯子蛋糕，比如说他提到的名牌像 Louis Vuitton， 我们都知道这是一个法国的名牌，还有 Starbucks。好，那他的问题就是说，在刚开始的时候，你是不是有想到这个以后会怎么样呢？好，注意到这一句What was in store for you？ 我们知道哦，这是一个片语。当你跟人家说 What is in store for somebody， 当然就表示这将来会发生什么事呢？这个问句就相当你问他 What is going to happen to you in the future？ 好，那所以在你当时开业的时候，你有没有想过会发生什么事？当然是没有。所以呢 Cheryl 他就说了，其实他就是喜欢烤饼干，然后他提到他之前怎么做的 I used to， 注意到 used to 这个当然是常见的片语，我们用 used to 要记得就是它本来就是一个过去式的时间，讲的就是以前呢有这样子都 一直是如何，他以前他是会怎么做。好，这个 to 是不定词的 to 哦，所以后面是原形动词。他以前呢，他会怎么做？他就把烘焙好的饼干带到公司里头，那当然就有人建议他，为什么不拿出来卖呢？注意到这个字，建议。suggest 这个动词，如果说建议某人要做什么事，那通常语气上就是有一个 should 被省略了，所以我们在英文的句法里面看到这样的动词，这种动词往往是表达一种建议或者是甚至于命令的口吻，或是要求别人做什么，那 should 省略，接下来就看到原形动词，所以这里 I sell them 意思就是 I should sell them， 他们建议我应该拿出来卖。好， should 不见了，但是通常我们没有看到 should， 它的口气还是在那里，所以要记得是原形动词。好，那所以呢，一开始这对他来说是个副业，后来他就真的要把它变成一个全职的工作了。好，主持人接下来就问说，那一开始多难呢？好， Cheryl 就讲，真的，说实话，他提到自己很幸运，因为他有一个稳固的财务基础，因为他之前有赚了一些钱在一家贸易公司里。不过他要提醒大家，就是如果要创业，真的是要有可观的存款，否则做起来是很冒险的。那再来下一个问题，当然是问 Cheryl 你怎么成功的呢？他的回答说I worked round the clock。 我们知道 round the clock 就像你时钟一直走一直走，没有停下来，所以就是日以继夜，夜以继日，不停的工作。那他还说到家人的支持。好，那当然咯，这样子的原因不是他全部成功的原因，他还提到其实他们有名声，而且做了很多的网络行销，还送了很多的赠品，然后最后真的获得了认可。好，那么最后主持人就问他说，有没有对大家有什么建议？假如说有人想要跟你一样这样创业的话，好，注意到这一句话 follow in your footsteps， 意思就是说跟着你的脚步走，效法你来做。那 Cheryl 当然就是很诚心的说，其实就是要坚持下去。然后他还告诉大家，相信自己，因为有努力的话，你的梦想才会实现。好，我们今天的讲解就到这边结束，我们下次见。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's talk about some useful expressions right now.
Okay.
Now, remember, this is an interview with Cheryl Ma, and the interview is conducted by Zach, who is doing this interview for his podcast. So, of course, if you're interviewing someone, you want them to express their views and opinions. And so if somebody asks you questions and they want your opinion, here are some ways for you to express your opinion.Yeah,
so from my point of view, just means how you see things. It's your judgment of something, your opinion, your attitude. So from my point of view, we need to expand into some new markets. So if you think that you've kind of saturated your market, there are no more opportunities for new customers or new business where you are currently, sometimes people will expand into new markets. Maybe that's a new country.Maybe that's just a new state if you live in the States. Maybe you're just in one local area. It depends on where you are. Now, number 2, it says, in my opinion, we don't have the budget to hire any new employees. So this is another way just to say, this is my opinion, and let people know that it's not a fact, it's not a right or wrong, it's just someone's viewpoint of something. In my opinion, we don't have the budget to hire any new employees. She was lucky to have a lot of good family members who were willing to help her. Now, if you've always argued with your brothers and sisters, you're probably not going to get any help when you set up your own business. But if you have a good relationship, family often comes to the rescue when we need them.
Indeed, that's the ideal situation, of course. You always have to remember that, hey, if I help you out, maybe you can help me out in the future. Remember those favors.
Sure.
So, in my opinion, you could also say, well, the way I see it, or you could say, I think, or I believe, etc. And here's another one. It seems to me that Allison would make an excellent team leader. So, it seems to me, seems a little soft here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to be so bold and say, well, this is the way it is. If you don't believe it, then you're dumb. But here, you're kind of being a little humble. Well, you know, this is how I see it. It seems to me, it may not be true, you may not think so, but it seems to me Allison would make an excellent team leader. We're considering other people like Joe and Lisa and Larry, but, you know, I think, it seems to me, that Allison is the best choice.
I like this. If you have a pretty strong boss, this might be a better way to give your boss your opinion, right? So it seems to me. Now, here's the discussion question. Tom, I'll ask you first. Would you prefer to run your own business or work for someone else? Give reasons for your answer.
Well, when I was young, of course, my father ran a business. He ran a gasoline station in my hometown. And I guess I learned from him that I did not want to run my own business. Because if you are the boss of your company, of course, everybody respects you. And they all bow down to you and call you boss and stuff like that. But still, the sacrifice is quite big. You have to get to the office really early in the morning. Your lunch hour is very short. And you get home late at night. And if there are any problems at the office, or in this case at the gas station, that happen and you're home relaxing, they'll still call you and they'll still say, hey, we got this problem, you know, Mr. Lee's car, his tire went flat after we fixed it and he's really mad. What should we do about it? It seems like you never get off work. You're working 24 hours a day and you're probably even worrying about things when you sleep. So yeah, I would rather work for somebody else. I don't really like that kind of stress. How about you?
Well, we know that here in Taiwan, a lot of people want to be their own boss, right? Which I respect. But if you're not good with stress, you probably should work for someone else. But if you can't stand other people telling you what to do, maybe you should work on your own. So it just depends on what you're interested in. I've done both. You know, I think working for someone else can be great if you agree with how they see things, right? But if you don't, that's not very fun. But like Tom said, if you're going to run your own business, guys, you're going to be working a lot more. Okay, I think that's it for our time, guys. We're going to sign off. We also have a couple of questions that you can listen to and have a further discussion with your classmates. That's it for English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
See you next time.